Hello everyone, I'm Maria Heller. This is the second video in our series discussing Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. Please watch the first part before continuing with this video. In the first part, we talked about our background, about when we started reading these books, what attracted us to the series, and we also made a top of our favorite books from the Vampire Chronicles. In this video, we're going to discuss our top 3 favorite books from the Vampire Chronicles, and then we're going to also discuss plots we didn't like from the entire series. Enjoy! Since our top books are kind of the same, we thought of going a bit in depth about what we love about them.
Yes, just like a general overview. Maybe we're going to make separate reviews for the books, but...
So, Memnoch.
Yes.
Okay, so we already said that we love Memnoch because we love origin stories, and that's the ultimate origin story. Is the story about the origin of the universe in her world, or is it? That's the point. We don't quite know.
And we're not meant to know.
We're not meant to know.
Readers.
But even if it wasn't true, and this is all an elaborate lie, it's such a good story, and it's such a good explanation, and it ties in so many things and so many concepts and so many religious ideas, and it's a good story.
I also like Memnoch a lot because of my own personal relationship with the religion in general. I am not religious at all. I am an atheist. But Romania is a very religious, orthodox country. And it was always very hard for me, as being a non-religious person, a gay individual, and at the same time a person who appreciates beauty and culture and history of art, to kind of make peace with all of these different segments in me. And I feel like Anne Rice's idea in Memnoch, in the book Memnoch, that God is bad, I don't know, it shocked me as a teenager because it was exactly what I was thinking, that if there is a God, he doesn't give a damn about anything. I don't know, I read that book so many times, and every time I read it, I found concepts that made me think, and not just me thinking in my head, just with my two thoughts bouncing around. Made me think, made me go and look for philosophy books and history of religion books. I almost feel like Memnoch in particular needs, at the end of the story, to have bibliographical pages and notes. Bibliographical? How is
reading
it in
list.
English? Yes, a reading list. I definitely feel the need to have a reading list for that. But we do get little snippets. I'm not sure if in Memnoch, but in all the other books of hers, she mentions this philosopher and this historian, and we circle it, and then we go look for this person and what they're about.
And when we were studying art history,
yes,
because we did throughout high school and
it was
university,
mandatory.
Yeah, it was boring. But then we would find things that we learned in art history class in Anne Rice books, and then it was suddenly exciting, and that is what gave us the motivation to go and search more about it. So like the Book of the Hours,
Yes,
and other philosophers, artists even. I know she keeps mentioning Fra Angelico.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a mandatory class about Fra Angelico. I think we were in 9th or 10th grade, and it was so boring. Our teacher made it be absolutely, I don't know, snooze-inducing. But we were very excited, and we knew much more than it was in the manual because of Anne Rice. She invents some things, but I think she's true to the source in many others.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that you mentioned about being an atheist but an artist is that we're also traditionalists in
Yes.
art. So everything past, I don't know, everything past modernism, we don't really like.
Yeah, no.
So if you go back, all the great art is religious art.
Yes.
And how do you look at religious art and appreciate religious art when you're an atheist? You just appreciate it for the art. This is one of the books that I read just, I don't know, almost at the same time with Memnoch.
Yes.
This is not fiction. It's Eliade. He's a Romanian philosopher and
Historian of religion.
Historian of religion. And this book is about occult.
Să știi că cartea asta originală a fost scrisă în engleză.
Da? Nu știu cum se pronunță ocultismul, Ana.
Occultism, witchcraft and cultural fashions.
Thank you, mommy. And I devoured this book. I'm gonna insert clips more focused on all the underlining that I did in this book. This is how I read books that I like. They're full of underlining and of arrows and of written words on the edges, and this is exactly how our Memnoch copy looks as well. Nu știu dacă se vede de acolo.
Mă rog, o să filmez.
Yeah, and sticky notes with ideas and lots of underlining and arrows and question marks and notes. So this is why we love Memnoch. That's what we're actually talking about. And there are plots here that are not the origin story.
Yes.
The whole plot with Dora o cheamă?
Da, Dora o cheamă.
I didn't like.
I don't like the character, don't care for her. I like Roger, he's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like something Lestat would definitely do.
Yeah.
Like, find a victim, fall in love with him after he's dead.
Yeah. Another book that's in our top 3 is the Vampire Armand. And that is because, as we explained, we have a background in art. So it was unavoidable.
Yes. And what artist doesn't like the peak of the Renaissance?
Yeah. So what I liked about the story is obviously his relationship with Marius, but I also liked his origin story.
Yes, with his childhood and early life in Russia.
Yeah.
Being
I
an
like the
artist
contrast.
himself.
Yeah, I like the contrast of cold, dark Russia
Yeah.
and I don't know, like the loneliness he had there, the misery, and then his life with Marius, which was so colorful and warm and full of excitement.
And flavor.
Yeah.
Not to look down on Russia or anything.
Yeah, it
We
was
really related to the
Russian part
Yeah.
because Romania is little Russia. Yeah.
I feel like his origin totally makes sense, and his background, where he started from, it makes so much sense from his, to be part of his personality.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you didn't tell me that he started as an icon painter in Russia, I would have assumed that he has a weird relationship with the Christian faith because of how his life and life after he becomes a vampire just revolves around everything.
I very much fell in love with Marius as seen from Armand's perspective.
Yes.
Because that's how he was kind of presented from
Mhm.
Armand's perspective. That led to some disappointments that I didn't want to read about. that's one of the reasons why I didn't read Blood and Gold, because my other friend that read the series told me that if I adore Marius and how Marius was from Armand's perspective, I shouldn't read Blood and Gold because I will not like him anymore.
Yes.
So I took her word for it and I never read that book. I think I should, though.
Maybe you're mature enough.
Yeah, maybe I'm mature enough not to throw it at the wall and say that I don't want to read anymore. Maybe.
Who knows?
So I loved not only Marius because he was an artist, I loved his entire life philosophy. His philosophy of being a vampire, of existing as part of the human world, taking part in life like humans do, and being this benefactor, helping out other people, like mortals, like the young man he helped with their studies.
Yeah. I also absolutely loved about Marius the fact that he was before Christianity, and there are some passages, I don't exactly remember in which book, but there are some passages in which he says that he remembers this little sect of barefoot beggars, and he's surprised and shocked at how it grew to become end all be all of the world.
The thing that I really, really like about her vampires, or what we can see because they're vampires and they live so long, is the perspective they have.
Yes.
How they can see things developing over centuries, and that overlook that no other being can have.
Only a historian.
Not even a historian, because they don't live through it. What else did we like about Armand?
Well, their eroticism.
Yeah. And them as a couple, I really liked how their personalities interacted. Marius being so calm and so introverted.
Sure.
Yeah, introverted, never really showing his feelings.
Or his thoughts or his emotions.
And so proper and calm and patient and mature. And Armand being this brat, which really shows that Marius did a good job in raising him. Because if he was scared to voice his opinion as not to anger him, that would show that he was scared of him. By the fact that he was so bratty and he didn't show any fear of him, it means that it was kind of a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
From my point of view.
Yeah, from my point
That's
of view, yeah.
what it shows.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was scared of him or scared of being kicked out on the streets, he wouldn't voice his opinions or break down his doors.
Yeah.
So in him being so bratty, it really shows that he had trust in him, and
he knew he can push it.
Yeah.
And how much.
Yeah. And I liked, obviously, the eroticism of their relationship. I think there's enough evidence that that relationship was wanted by Armand.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost wish there was more.
I mean, there are so few pages about his life as a mortal before he was turned. And then I feel like there was so little of his life as a vampire with Marius.
I really wanted more. I wanted more affection described. I wanted not necessarily saucy thing described, but affection, more affection. I wanted them kissing and making out and like cuddling and napping together.
Conversation.
Yeah.
No, interaction between the two characters.
Yeah. I kind of understand that Marius didn't want Armand to get too attached to him, which is bullshit.
Well, that was his plan. His plan was to help him get a well-adjusted life and live as a mortal.
Yeah, his plan was to never turn him, basically. Or at least to wait until he was older. And this ties into another thing that we wanted to discuss, which is about her characters, how well you can tell they're basically stuck in eternity, living forever, at the age they were turned. Their age shows so much in their personality later on. For example, Marius is the most balanced one, the most, I don't know, well-adjusted one, because he was turned when he was so much older. So his personality was already formed.
He has lived as a man.
Yeah.
Already knew the rules of society. Okay, his society, Roman society before Christ, but it was still a solid
Age
society.
is very, very important in your view of the world. In your teenage years, you start questioning everything.
And you start rebelling. You're like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. And you start having all these existential crises because you, for the first time, figured out how the world works and how this works and how that works, and it freaks you out, and it pisses you off, and you want to rebel and you want to escape, and you are consumed by it, and you look at other people around you, older people, and you don't understand why they are not freaking out too. How can they placidly accept all of this and not wonder, and you think they are stupid, when actually they're at the next phase where you get used to it. Get used to not having all the answers, you know?
Yes.
So I think that in Armand you can really, really tell that that angst never goes away. He was turned, but his mind age will forever be 17.
Yes, you can see this in his weird and cruel behaviors throughout the books, where other characters are baffled by him and they're like, oh my god, is he crazy? He's 17 forever, what do you expect?
Yeah.
And he has so much power. Of course he's going to throw tantrums and tear limbs apart.
Yes. I think all of his behaviors can be explained by his age.
Yes.
And also his belief before he was turned. So that little backstory that everyone tends to forget, him being in Russia and being an icon painter, I think is really, really important. It wasn't just thrown in there to make his backstory interesting. I think it perfectly explains his obsession with things that are bigger than himself, such as religion.
Yeah.
How he totally threw himself in that satanic cult thing. And he goes like from one extreme to the other. That's a very teenager thing to do.
Yes, it is.
To not really have a balance and the center of gravity of your own, and just do extreme things
a lot.
Yeah. And not really find your footing, and be very obsessed with a thing, like he was with that satanic cult. Like that was his entire existence. And then another thing and another thing, and not really finding any chill. You know?
He has no chill.
Yeah. I think also the age in which they're made, in which they lived as humans, is very important. I think Maeve said this in her review of the Vampire Lestat, is that Lestat was born during the Enlightenment period in France, and he was shaped by that mentality, where for a period of time people started being less and less religious.
Yeah.
And that is shown in his personality. It's in his core character that he's not religious, and he can take things, I don't know how to say, has nothing sacred on this earth.
Yeah.
That's why it was such a clash between him and Louise, because Louise was born and lived as a man in a very different time, in a very religious time, very Catholic upbringing. So you really can't shake that off, even if they live for hundreds of years. That mentality in which they were raised as humans, and it will forever shape them.
Yeah. Also, I think there's a huge difference between Louis and his way of being very Catholic and, I don't know, consumed by guilt. And Armand, who is very orthodox in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You almost see the differences between the two sides of the
Religion.
of the religion.
Okay, so now we're gonna discuss plots we don't like.
Plots we hated.
Okay.
On the top of our list is the satanic cult in the theater of the vampires. I think we touched on it enough when talking about Armand.
Yeah. It made sense for his personality to be into that, but that doesn't mean I enjoyed it.
I didn't enjoy it, and I absolutely didn't enjoy the fact that it was a big thing for other vampires, and that there were these covens and all that. I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but I hated it. I wished I could skip it, but I knew that maybe there are tidbits there that are important in character development, so I just had to
bear through it.
Yeah, it was awful.
Akasha.
Yes.
Everything after Akasha woke up, everything about her personality and her character, and her philosophy and her plan, and no. It was terrible. I mean,
I don't even like men, but oh my god, Akasha is awful.
Yeah. What I want to say about this is that I don't think it's a bad story. Anne Rice, I think, in the novel, made it clear that she doesn't agree with Akasha. This is just her opinions, and by the fact that she was killed off in the end, kind of says the conclusion that no, her plans were not very good.
Yes. Also, unfortunately, Akasha ruins a lot of these books for me, because she really leaves a very bad flavor in my mouth every time I hear those who must be kept.
Yeah.
So, after I read everything about Akasha, when I read Armand, and I've seen Marius leave off to take care of those who must be kept, I would get angry.
Yeah.
It was better when I didn't know what they are.
Yeah. It was one of those things, like I said, I read Armand before Queen of the Damned. So, when I was reading Armand, everything in Armand is very coded. It never says anything, just those who must be kept, and it's very secretive about it, and it's never revealed who they are, what's going on.
Yes.
And while you're reading it, if you don't know, like I didn't, it's very mysterious and it makes you very curious. What's that?
It's mysterious and it's worthy of being appreciated. It's worthy of respect.
Yeah, I respected Marius so much because I knew that he has this solemn duty.
Yes, important. He's been entrusted to take care of those who must be kept.
And then after you find out about Akasha and what's her actual personality and her actual plan for this world, I almost can't respect Marius anymore, even though he didn't know. But if I reread Armand and I see him leaving Armand because he must go take care of those who must be kept, I can't keep myself from scoffing. I mean, like, you would have been so much better just not doing that, just throw them in the ocean. You know?
Yeah. That's my main problem with Akasha's story, and it's not just my opinion. You can tell from her story, if you look at her life as a mortal, as the queen, that's how she is. That's how her personality is. Very entitled. She thinks that she is the right one. She's willing to go and massacre civilizations to get her will.
That's not just after she wakes up. It's not like she was good and then she wakes up and she's a different person. I feel like that was very much it was built even in the backstory in the origin
of her
story.
To be like that.
Yeah.
So it's not just, she went crazy
after she woke up.
Yeah. No.
She was like that from the beginning in the origin story, given what she did to the twins.
Yes.
and how she handled that entire thing.
So I absolutely hated her plot. I wish I could forget it. I don't
Yeah.
know. It makes sense, but I wish I could forget it.
Yeah.
Because she generally ruins everything. All the mentions of those who must be kept.
Yeah. But I think Anne Rice did it on purpose. I think she did it on purpose, that the truth was disappointing.
Well, she did it again with the witches.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah. So I think she did it on purpose, that she built up this mystery, and then when she revealed what it was, I think it was on purpose supposed to be disappointing.
Banal.
Yeah.
I hated everything that had to do with Lestat's idea of becoming a rock musician,
Yeah.
concerts, rock band, baby Jenks, whatever.
Yeah.
All those little vampires that were haunting them before the concert.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I suppose there had to be other vampires once you introduce this plague.
Yeah.
People are going to just want to make armies of vampires like Cayman did.
Yeah.
I suppose she had to make this, but I absolutely hated it. Maybe there would have been ways to make it less cringe.
I'm not saying it's bad. I feel like it's very Lestat. It's a Lestat thing to do.
It is a Lestat thing.
I don't know. I didn't like that part.
No.
Other things we didn't like was the plot with Dora in
Memnoch.
Memnoch. I didn't like her character. She was some... What was she?
Televangelist thing. That's something American, I think.
Yeah, I didn't like her character. I liked Roger. I didn't like her. I didn't like her entire plot. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the plot with the veil either. I mean, I know that that's a big plot in Memnoch. I liked the origin story, but not necessarily the veil.
I suppose it had to be a relic.
Yeah. I mean, Lestat had to bring something back from this whole trip.
Yeah. And it makes sense for Lestat to do what he did, but the whole veil thing...
Yeah. I don't know, it just... it feels a bit like conspiracy theory.
Exactly. I mean, the veil is mentioned so many times in conspiracy theory shows. It's just cringe. Again.
Yeah. And obviously, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it for a second. That actually exists.
No.
In her world, not in ours.
I don't believe it in our world either.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, not even in her world. So I believed that her entire explanation with that Memnoch gave with how the world started. I believe that it was believable. It was a nice tie-up of concepts and things. But the whole veil thing, I didn't like it, and I didn't believe it. Yeah. And
it makes so much sense that Armand bought it.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Gretchen.
No.
So, Gretchen is a character from The Tale of the Body Thief.
She was a nun that Lestat got involved with.
Yeah, no. No.
It was...
I think it was Anne Rice's way of saying that Lestat is so hot that he can even charm a nun.
Or something.
And the devil. And God. But no.
Oh yeah, in Memnoch, when Lestat had the audacity to drink from Jesus.
Yeah.
That was very typical Lestat. And
it was.
I kind of... It was a bit cringe, but I appreciate her audacity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, in this universe that she built with these rules, it's totally something that Lestat would do.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But Lestat is cringe, so... He is. And I love him. I'm allowed to say that about him because I love him.
Okay. Other things?
I think that's pretty much... Oh, no. I almost forgot. Bianca.
Okay, hear me out. I was shipping Armand and Marius. Nowhere in that relationship did Armand or Marius seem to say that the relationship is open.
No. Or polyamorous?
No.
No.
And I just didn't like... I didn't like Marius' infatuation with Bianca. I didn't get it. And
I couldn't care for her story.
I felt offended from Armand's perspective. I felt offended for Armand. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just... I'm a hopeless romantic. And I was shipping Marius and Armand. And I was hoping they will be together forever. And
Or at least
faithful
longer than that.
to each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a courtesan or anything. That's not it. I just... The character, her personality... She was so...
Yeah.
Just no.
The thing that... I think it's not only us. I think you can ask any artist. Not any artist. I think this is an artist thing. We didn't like her because she was such a poser. She was having poets over all the time and painters and being a muse. While doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, Marius was an artist. He was actually painting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she just wanted to be like this muse for artists. Like, I would have appreciated it if she made her something. If she was writing. If she was painting or sculpting. Not just, hi, I'm beautiful, paint me. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely something about
And that
you being an
entire,
artist.
yeah, that entire, how she built her up of, oh, she was so cultural.
No.
Music was going on in her house at all times, 24 hours a day. There were musicians there and artists and poets. Just spare me. Yeah. I don't know. That type of thing doesn't ring true to an artist.
Yeah. And I absolutely hate the fact that, I don't know, it's almost like the fandom decided to put her together with Lucrezia Borgia for whatever reason.
Maybe they felt she was inspired by her. The character of Bianca, I don't know.
It's...
But I like Lucrezia Borgia.
Yeah, I
from
like the
show.
Borgias.
Yeah.
I hate the association between the two.
Yeah.
And oh my god. Everything that happens with
has
Bianca
nothing to
later
do
on
with-
that Maria doesn't know because she didn't read Blood and Gold. I hate it so much. I just wanted to throw the book in some fire.
This has nothing to do with her gender. I would have disliked this character built like that, even if it was a guy. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shallow.
Yeah. Moving on. I'm getting hungry.
Another plot that we hated. How Akasha treated Marius. I think that goes into the Akasha part of the hate. I just feel like that adds insult to injury.
Yeah.
It's... Oh my god.
I don't know.
It was bad enough.
Yeah. It was bad enough, her entire philosophy and plan for this world, it was bad enough. But how she treated Marius when she woke up was just...
I almost feel like it would have been better if she killed him.
Yeah.
That disdain.
Yeah. Like, that's the person who dedicated his entire life at the cost of relationships and everything else to take care of her and her husband. Like, his relationship with Armand came to an end because he thought it's more important for him to take care of those who must be kept. He didn't go after Armand when those Stanek blah blah kidnapped Armand because he put those who must be kept above Armand.
I almost feel like he didn't fight those satanic idiots hard enough when they
Because-
attacked,
yeah.
because he was concerned that he is going to be kidnapped or killed, so he won't be able to take care of those who must be kept.
Yeah. So, and I didn't read Pandora, but I think he said somewhere that they were fighting because of those who must be kept. So not only his relationship with Armand, his relationship with Pandora apparently ended because he was dedicated to take care of them. And what did the bitch do when she woke up?
I just shoved him into a glacier.
And destroyed his house. I remember when he was walking through his wreck of a house, and what did he come across? Dead fish?
Yeah. The kind of person he is, he brought nature to them and fishes.
And he had like little animals and things to keep him company. Yeah. If you could forgive everything else about Okasha, that's the one thing I don't forgive. How she treated Marius. This is where we're going to stop with this video. In the next video, which is going to come out next week, we're going to go over plots we loved, and then we're going to discuss some of the scariest / grossest moments in the Vampire Chronicles series. So please subscribe if you want to see the next video, and thank you for watching.